The Shark Deck.
Vince Vaughn has a terrible idea. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Vince Vaughn will return and star in a sequel to Dodgeball. Dodgeball came out in 2004. Who's in it? Who knows? What's the plot? All we know is it will continue the story of Vince Vaughn's prize-winning gym owner. Ross and Marshall Thurber wrote and directed the original film, back in 2004. In 2021, Thurber told Deadline, you know what? Never say never. I never thought about Dodgeball as a series, but that might actually be fun. I'm really proud of Dodgeball. Terrible idea. Don't do it. Great article on Vulture, which I shared in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast group, about the comedy booker on The Late Late Show with James Corden. Vulture gives credit to The Late Late Show as being an early showcase for people like Jackie Novak and exposing Americans to popular British acts like James Acaster and Ramesh Ranganathan. Ryan Williams was the booker on the show, and Vulture asked him, hey, before coming to that show, you worked as a booker for both Letterman and Fallon. How was your approach different here? Ryan Williams said, the one thing that every late night show has in common is that a lot of what you're doing is tailored to the host's taste. James came from a place where he wasn't a stand-up comedian. He definitely had taste and people he loved, but to begin, it was pretty much about showing off American stand-ups to James and trying to find people who tickled his fancy. As time went on, I was able to branch out a little bit. All right, what was the booking process like? Ryan says most of the submissions came via email from people's agents and managers. A lot of times I get referrals from stand-ups who'd been on the show. Those are the ones that get the most excited about. When a stand-up was here, did really well, and clearly got what it was all about, I'd let them know, hey, as you're going about the world, keep me in mind. I'd love to hear about folks that you see are ready and have solid sets. Especially pre-COVID, I was at the clubs a lot more often than I am now, trying to go to different industry showcases and dropping in at Hot Tub when that was a thing. Hot Tub being the weekly variety show hosted by Kurt Braunohler and Kristen Schaal. Some of the people who performed at Hot Tub, you may have heard of them, Aziz Ansari, Eugene Merman, Janine Garofalo, Reggie Watts, TJ Miller, Dimitri Martin, Patton Oswalt, Kevin Meaney. I digress. Ryan, what were you looking for as you went through the submissions? He told Vulture. It's very much about balancing out an interesting point of view that's also very palatable to a mainstream audience. I always try to keep in mind that the folks showing up to watch a late-night talk show taping aren't necessarily the same folks who would show up to a comedy club. I'd avoid more challenging material for the most part, with a few exceptions. Vulture asked, when Ryan looks back on his favorite sets, what comes to mind? Ryan said, the first one that comes to mind is Jacqueline Novak, who's super funny. I think we were her late night debut here. She was one of the first more creative bookings we had, someone who was going after exciting, interesting points of view, and maybe people don't necessarily fit the standard traditional late night mold. She had a really funny set and has gone on to do great things. More from that article tomorrow. On Corden's last show, he had a great pre-recorded segment that featured Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, and David Letterman. In it, they wake up Corden in the middle of the night, and they want to make sure that Corden does not give away their secrets, including the fact that they don't always watch the projects that the guests are promoting. And they try to convince him to stick around. Colbert says, James, have you thought this through? What other job will allow you to break in a song and dance every night? The segment then jumps ahead 6 months as James Corden and Trevor Noah are competing on The Masked Singer. That's pretty funny. There was also a joke about how James will have to grow a long beard, and that sparked the Letterman cameo, which made me smile. Parade magazine caught up with Ray Romano. Hey, Ray, you've been married since 1987. Do you have any pearls of relationship wisdom? Hey, who doesn't want marital advice from Ray Romano? I'll take some. Ray said, oh boy, well, this came from one of many, many therapists I've had in my life. That's a great start. And his quote was, pretend you're not a narcissist. What he means is pay attention, get out of yourself once in a while and make sure you show them that they matter. Not that I don't do that, but when you're in the business, you're sometimes so wrapped up in yourself that you got to remember it. All right, Ray, let's go over your favorites. All-time favorite movie? He says Rocky, the first one. Favorite pizza place in Queens? Lillian Pizzeria in Forest Hills. Oh, listen to me. I've lived in New Jersey for a while. I said Forest Hills, didn't I? I'm from Queens. Forest Hills. Forest Hills. Hey, let's head over to Forest Hills. Wow. Can't believe I did that. Forest Hills. I'm sure Ray said Forest. First comedy album? He doesn't remember, but he says it was Cheech and Chong. Go-to hobby? Playing poker. You've got to be willing to go all in or they'll push you around. Secret talent Ray Romano has, he says, I can name any capital of any country in the world. I'm not kidding, but it doesn't mean I'm smart. Favorite early celebrity encounter? He said, I delivered a futon to Larry David in the 80s. That was before Seinfeld, but I knew him from that TV show Fridays. Remember Fridays? Yeah. I asked him, what happened with Fridays? And he goes, If you enjoy what I do here, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/daily comedy news. As usual, when I get around to recording the show, there's not much coffee left. Let's see. You know how the National Donuts chain has the cups? They're skinnier on the bottom, so they fit in your cup holder, and then they get thick. I only have the skinny part left, so you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/daily comedy news. Throw $5 in the tip jar. You know what I'll do with it. Yahoo asked Hurry Kondabolu, hey, as a comedian, do you feel like cancel culture is a true threat? Everybody has to ask every comedian that question. Why not? Hurry said, not really. I feel like who really gets canceled? Louis C.K. won a Grammy last year. There's comics who fill out huge stadiums or at least 1,000-seat theaters saying you can't say anything anymore. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat there. Like you can't say anything more when you're in front of 1,000 people when you're on TV and specials. So I don't think cancellation's a real thing. I think criticism is real, and I think people, particularly comics, aren't used to accountability. Look, I've had people call me out. I don't like it either. Nobody wants to be told that was ridiculous or that's offensive, but that's how it works when you throw your ideas into a public sphere. Stand-ups always complain that nobody cares about us. We're never heard. We're the workhorses of the entertainment industry. And then somebody actually values the words that come out of your mouth and you get upset. Well, it doesn't work that way. People love you because of what you say. That also runs the risk of you stumbling and saying something you might later regret. The Guardian caught up with Susie Eddie Izzard, and they were asking Susie Eddie Izzard, all right, what do we even call you these days? The artist formerly known as Eddie Izzard recently announced she was adding Susie to her name. Izzard told The Guardian, I think stay with Eddie because that's my public name. And I'm gender fluid. I don't want to lose Eddie. What I don't want is Susie Eddie. Izzard said that she's using Susie on food delivery apps. They don't say anything when they give you your order except there you go, but you can see it on your phone. Susie, your food is on its way. The Sydney Morning Herald caught up with Dylan Moran, who said, the jig is up with our own BS. We see how we've been living because we've had the net for 20 years. I'm in my 50s and I have that retrospective flow. But now we're thinking we definitely had a better time. We cared less about everything. We were less neurotic. We were less frazzled at the time. You wonder, what could we have done? We didn't know. They told us things were good and we rocked along with it and we were dumb about it. Seems suspicious to me because it went on for so long. You're thinking, Jesus, where's the war? There's usually a war. Well, now there is, and everybody hates everybody, and the Cold War's not cold anymore. It's definitely above room temperature by now. He talked about posting his ramblings on Instagram and said, I don't spend too much time on it. There are practical aspects, but there's zero relational nutrition in it. It's not going to make you feel anything real. When TV first came out, people said it was an invention for lonely people, and it's obviously true with this too. We're in an epidemic of people feeling isolated, being alone together. It's a machine dialogue that you're in. It's weird. Do you want to be in a machine dialogue, or do you want to live your effing life as an organic human being? It's like a sex doll. It's so far away from reality. People complain about being alone, but what they really mean is they're frightened of finding out what it is to be a person and walk around the grounds of their own mind. They want instead to be given guided tours of BS to distract them before they get a chance to do that. We're giving away the best of ourselves to tech companies. We need to reclaim ourselves. There's an opportunity now to be honest. What is it you want? Or carry on moaning for the rest of your effing lives. Dylan Moran. His show's called We Got This. He's at the State Theater in Sydney until May 11th. Let's see who else is at Sydney on, what's today? Sunday? Are you recording this on Friday, John? Yeah. Monday. Let's see who's at Sydney on Monday. May 1st. How did that happen already? All right. Apparently the Sydneyans take Mondays off. All we really have is the Sydney Comedy Festival showcase at the Bondi Pavilion and the Happy Hour. So I'll tell you what, I would head over to Bondi because that's where Bondi Beach obviously is. And I've been there and I had a great day. It's my number 2 ranked beach in the world. San Sebastian, Spain at number 1. But Bondi Beach, fantastic. We should just hang out at the beach and blow off comedy today. And by today, I mean tomorrow. This time zone stuff gets so confusing. Are you in Toronto? Well, tonight, Joker's Wild, a triple X roast battle strip show. It's in the Comedy Bar Ossington. Here's the details. Comedians bear it all for your laughs at Joker's Wild, a show that combines explosive roast battles with strip poker. Okay, 7 o'clock. How does it work? Toronto's best comedians exchange vicious barbs, and whoever's doesn't land has to take off a piece of clothing. So think about it. Say you were there and Jeff Ross, the roast master, was there and he was having an off night. You might be able to see Jeff Ross naked. Is that not attractive to you? Come on. So I'm trying to think of who are some of the best roasters. I'm looking for lists here. Here's one from 2018 where Vulture had the best roast sets of all time. All right, Jeff Ross, we've already visioned him naked. Drew Carey for roasting Hugh Hefner in 2001. Imagine Drew Carey was there and lost at strip poker. You got to see him naked. Sarah Silverman. All right, I don't want to get creepy. I'll move on. Todd Barry. Patton Oswalt. Yeah. Whitney Cummings. This could easily get creepy, John. Why don't you bail on this segment and just shut up? Okay, good advice. Why didn't you edit that out? because that's not fun. Where were we? Oh, yeah. The comedians were roasting each other. And if you don't land a joke, you take off a piece of clothing. And you can imagine the people I just discussed. The show was created by Toronto's Sebastian Fazio, known professionally as Roast Master Bash. Joker's Wild, Comedy Bar Ossington, 7 o'clock. You should go. Comedy, naked people. Why not? That's your comedy news for today. Why didn't you edit that out? Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow. Who doesn't like vacations? Do you need some inspiration for your next road trip? Are you excited to get out there and explore the world again? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac. My podcast is called Travel is Back. Travel is Back is travel for regular people. We hop in the car, we fly coach, we use our miles, we eat at normal places, we stay at normal places. So what I do is I hop in the car, I grab my portable recorder, and I go somewhere. Season 3 kicks off with a road trip to Key West. You can check out the back catalog. There are popular episodes covering Chicago, Nashville, Vancouver, Seattle, a whole bunch more. Travel is Back, road trips for regular people. Follow the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your shows. These are quick, these are casual, and it's for regular people like you. Travel is Back.
A little focus goes a long way, and a whole lot of focus, well, that puts you light years ahead of the competition. That's why at Vernon, they only focus on heating and cooling. And as the heating and cooling specialists, they're great at it, especially after 43 years. Get your AC ready for summer with Vernon's $69 spring tune-up. You heard right, only $69. Go to VernonHeating.com. Vernon, the heating and cooling specialists.